This is our topic for today's live session, quadratic equation from Maths Part 1, Class 10. So in this topic we are going to learn how the solution of a quadratic equation can be found, various methods for finding the solution of a quadratic equation, and how, if we have a solution or if we have roots of quadratic equation, from that how can we get that equation itself, and some word problems based on that. So in this topic we are going to have various methods of solving quadratic equation. We are going to learn what is the discriminant and how the nature of roots of a quadratic equation will be dependent on the value of the discriminant. So those various points are there. We'll learn all those points in this today's live session. तर या लाईव्ह सेशन मध्ये आपण हे सगळे पॉइंट्स पाहणार आहोत. बेसिक कन्सेप्ट पासून आपण सुरू करूया. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल we'll start with the definition of a quadratic equation. The standard form of a quadratic equation, we have the definition or the general form of a quadratic equation as ax square plus bx plus c that is equal to 0, where a, b and c are any real numbers, so they may be rational or irrational. Only condition must be there that a must not be equal to 0. Otherwise, suppose if we get a is equal to 0, then this term a into x square, that will become 0, and we would have the equation bx plus c is equal to 0. So in that case it would not be a quadratic equation because its maximum index will not be 2 but it is 1, so it is called as a linear equation. So this happens if value of a is equal to 0, so the condition is provided here that a must not be equal to 0, so that is the only condition it must have. Then it is called as a quadratic equation. So we can define a quadratic equation as the equation involving one variable and having 2 as a maximum index of that variable is called as a quadratic equation, and the general form is ax square plus bx plus c that is equal to 0, where the variable is x and here values of a, b and c are any real numbers. So this is the definition of a quadratic equation. So we can have its example as 3x square minus 7x plus 5 that is equal to 0. So this is the quadratic equation in variable x. We may have another equation by using another variable, that is 1/2 into y square plus root 3 into y plus 15 that is equal to 0. So this is also a quadratic equation. Though the coefficient of y square is a fraction, that is a rational number, coefficient of y is irrational number, so it's okay because we need values of a, b and c are any real numbers. So these are the real numbers and the variable y has a maximum index 2, that's why this is the quadratic equation. So these are some examples of the quadratic equation. So first of all we must understand which is the quadratic equation, then only we can decide whether the given equation is a quadratic equation or not, and then we can have its solution. So this is the basic concept regarding the quadratic equation. Now let's complete this table. So here the quadratic equations are given. The first is x square minus 4 y square is equal to 2y minus 7, or x square plus 2x is equal to 0, and we have to express it in the general form. General form in the sense we should have ax square plus bx plus c that is equal to 0. So this is the general form of a quadratic equation. Now sometimes the value of the second term or the third term may be 0. It's okay if the values of b or c is equal to 0, that's okay, but only condition must be there that a must not be equal to 0. a 0 असता कामा नये, बाकी मग b आणि c 0 असतील तरी सुद्धा चालू शकेल, म्हणजे त्यामध्ये एखादी टर्म एलिमिनेट होऊ शकेल, पण ax स्क्वेअर मात्र त्या प्रत्येक इक्वेशन मध्ये पाहिजे तरच आपण त्याला क्वाड्रॅटिक इक्वेशन म्हणणार आहोत. नाउ वी हॅव टू एक्सप्रेस these equations in the general form, and by having the general form we have to find the values of a, b and c by comparing it with the standard form. So here we have the second equation, y square is equal to 2y minus 7. Now to write this in the general form, we should have 0 on the right hand side. So we should transfer 2y minus 7 to the left hand side. So y square as it is plus 2y coming to the left hand side, it would be minus 2y, and minus 7 coming to the left hand side, it will be plus 7, that is equal to 0. Now this is in the standard form. Now if you compare this equation with the general form ax square plus bx plus c, we get here the coefficient of first term. Here the coefficient of y square is not given, so it must be 1. That means the value of a is 1. So here the value of a is 1. Value of b is there is a value of b 2, but it has a negative sign, and in general form we have the sign of the middle term is positive. So while taking the value of b, we should consider the negative sign also. So while taking the value of b, we should take minus 2 and not 2, because minus sign is there. So we have to take the value of b along with the negative sign. So value of b here is minus 2. And value of c is 7. The constant term is 7. So this is how we can compare any given quadratic equation with the standard form, and we can find the values of a, b and c, which is very important to have the value of discriminant, or if we have to use the formula method to find the solution of the quadratic equation, we must find the values of a, b and c by comparing it with the standard form correctly. Then only we can have the correct answer. Okay, now the next equation is x square plus 2x, that is equal to 0. Now here the constant term is missing, so we can write it as x square plus 2x, which is given, and as a constant term is missing, we can write it as 0, that is plus 0. That means if we add 0 to any number, that will not make any difference to that number. So here also for this algebraic expression x square plus 2x, if we add 0, that will not make any difference, that is equal to 0. Now this is in the standard form or the general form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now we can compare. So coefficient of x square, that is first term, is 1, so value of a is 1, value of b is 2, and value of c, constant term, is 0. So this is how we can find the values of a, b and c. So this is one type of activity to understand how to find the values of a, b and c by comparing given quadratic equation with the general form. Okay. Now the next point, it's about the roots of a quadratic equation. Here one word is their roots. So roots are nothing but the solutions. And here we are using word solutions, not solution. That means every quadratic equation has two solutions. As its maximum index is 2, it has two solutions. So that's why roots of a quadratic equation or solutions of a quadratic equation, that is the word there. Now we have the definition in the previous class, that is in the 9th class. We have stated that if one polynomial is given, suppose any polynomial, that is p of x, is given, and instead of variable x, if we have a number a, any number, then, and if p of a, that is equal to 0, then in that case we say that x is equal to a is the solution of that polynomial. So as there is a criteria for a polynomial, same is there for a quadratic equation. So suppose any quadratic equation is given, and for the value of the variable it contains, if that quadratic equation becomes 0, then we say that that would be the solution of that particular quadratic equation. So let's have one example so as to have an idea about the roots of a quadratic equation. So let's have this activity. If x is equal to 5 is the root of equation kx square minus 14x minus 5 is equal to 0, then find the value of k by completing the following activity. Now in this question, the first sentence is, one of the roots of equation kx square minus 14x minus 5 is equal to 0 is 5, as x is equal to 5 is root of equation. As it is a quadratic equation, it must have 2, out of which only one root is given. So that root is 5. So in the first box we should write here 5. Now let x is equal to 5 in the equation. So we have to substitute x is equal to 5 in the given equation, so as to have this equation would be equal to 0, as it is a solution. So if x is equal to 5 is the solution, that equation must satisfy, that means left hand side must be equal to the right hand side. So kx square, instead of x square we should write 5, that is 5 square, minus 14 into x, that means 14 into 5. Minus 5 as it is equal to 0. Now here 5 square is 25 and 25 into k, that's 25k. Here written 25k. Minus 14 into 5, that's 70. Minus 5 as it is, that is equal to 0. Now 25k as it is, minus 70 minus 5, that would be minus 75. And if we transfer minus 75 to the right hand side, it will become plus 75. And now we have to find the value of k. So in the numerator we have 75, and as we have to find the value of k, we should transfer 25 to the right hand side so as to have in the denominator. So if we divide by 25, 25 ones are and 25 threes are 75. That's why k is equal to 3. So the value of k for this equation or for this question is 3. So this is how we can solve some examples which are based on the roots of quadratic equation. In short, if there is one root of a quadratic equation is given, and in that particular equation if we substitute the value of that variable, the equation must be satisfied. So that is the basic concept regarding that one. Now the question is there, can we identify a given equation is a quadratic equation or not? So to check that, this is the question. Decide which of the following are quadratic equations. So first is x square plus 5x minus 2. So as we can compare this with the standard form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now to be a quadratic equation, only two conditions must be satisfied. That means only one variable is there. So as you can see, only x is the variable in this equation, and the maximum index of that variable is 2. So x square is there. That means this is a quadratic equation. So this equation is a quadratic equation as it satisfies both the conditions. Now let's have the next question. Y square plus 1 by y is equal to 2. Now as of now, if we observe this, we may feel that both the conditions are satisfied for this one. That is, only one variable y is involved in this equation, and the maximum index is 2 as y square is there, and we may feel that it is a quadratic equation, but that's not the case, because in the second term we have 1 divided by y, so that will make the difference. So to understand or to decide whether it is a quadratic equation or not, first of all we should solve this one. That is, the denominator of y square is not given, so it must be 1. Now we have to cross multiply y square into y, that is y cube, plus 1 into 1, that's 1, divided by y into 1, that's y, that is equal to 2. So we get here y cube plus 1 is equal to, if we transfer y to the right hand side, it would be 2 into y, that is 2y, and the equation will become y cube as it is. If we take 2y to the left hand side, it would become minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. Now this is in the standard form, and now we can compare, is it a quadratic equation or not. Now only one variable y is involved in this one, but the maximum index is now 3. So that is not a quadratic equation. It is to be 1. If the maximum index is 2, then only it can be a quadratic equation. In this case, it's not the case. That's why this is not a quadratic equation. First of all, पहिल्यांदा आपल्याला वाटलं की हे कदाचित quadratic equation असेल, कारण इथे y square दिसते, पण हे सॉल्व केल्यानंतर आपल्याला लक्षात आलं की हे quadratic equation नाही. Now let's have the next question. Again we have another equation m plus 2 into m minus 5 is equal to 0. As of now, here also we may feel that one variable is involved and the maximum index is 1. That's why it is not a quadratic equation. But again, this is not the case. First of all, we should solve this, and then we can decide whether it is a quadratic equation or not. Now two polynomials are there and no sign is there in between these two. That means there is a product sign. So we have to take a product of these two. M into m, that is m square, minus 5 into m, that's minus 5m, plus 2 into m, that is 2m, minus 5 into 2, minus 10, that is equal to 0. So we get m square minus 5m plus 2m, that's minus 3m, minus 10 that is equal to 0. Now this is in the standard form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and now we can compare these two, and if we compare we get only one variable in this equation and the maximum index is 2. That's why this is a quadratic equation. So first of all, we may feel that it is not a quadratic equation, but by solving, when we get the given equation in the standard form or the general form, then we can realize that it is a quadratic equation. So any equation we are given, first of all we should write it in the standard form, and then only we can decide whether it is a quadratic equation or not. Okay, so this is the concept by which we can identify whether the given equation is a quadratic equation or not. Now let's have another question which is based on the quadratic equation. Write the following equation in the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and then write the values of a, b and c for each equation. This is the first equation. So if we have to write this in the general form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we should have 0 on the right hand side. So all the terms on the right hand side we should take to the left hand side. So if we take minus y square to the left hand side, it would become plus y square plus 2y as it is on the left hand side, and if we take plus 10 to the right hand side, it would be minus 10 that is equal to 0. And now this is in the standard form, ax square plus bx plus c that is equal to 0. And now if we compare this with the standard form, we get the value of a, that is the coefficient of y square, is 1, value of b, coefficient of second term is 2, and value of c, that is the constant term, is 10 along with the negative sign. So value of c should be taken as minus 10. So this is how we can find the values of a, b and c. So to find the values of, again we should take care that whenever we have to find the values of a, b and c, first of all we should write the given equation in the standard form, and then only we can compare it with the standard form to have the values of a, b and c. Okay, we have another equation, x square plus 5x that is equal to minus 3 into x. Again we should have x square plus 5x on the left hand side. If we take minus 3 minus x to the left hand side, it will become plus 3 minus x, and that is equal to 0 because we have taken this to the left hand side. Now we have x square plus 5x minus x, it would be plus 4x plus 3 that is equal to 0. Now this is in the general form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And now if we compare these two equations, the coefficient of x square is not given, so it must be 1. That is a is equal to 1. Value of b, that is the coefficient of the second term, that's 4. And value of c is 3. So these are the values of a, b and c. So this is how we can find the values of a, b and c. Now let's have another question. Determine whether the values given against each of the quadratic equation are the roots of a quadratic equation. So this is the quadratic equation. First quadratic equation is given to be x square plus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0, and values against it given are x is equal to 1 and minus 1. We have to decide whether it is a solution or the roots of this equation or not. So to decide that, the first value of x is given to be 1. So for x is equal to 1, if we replace x in this equation by 1, and in that case if both these sides are satisfied, that means we get left hand side is equal to right hand side, in that case we say that it is a solution or it is a root. So the equation is x square plus 4x minus 5. So x square plus 4x minus 5 that is equal to x square, that is 1 square, plus 4 into x, that is 4 into 1 minus 5. So 1 square is 1 plus 4 into 1, that's 4 minus 5. 1 plus 4, that's 5 minus 5, that is equal to 0. So for x is equal to 1, we get x square plus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. That means x is equal to 1 is the solution of this equation. So we have the concluding statement as x is equal to 1 is the solution of given equation. So this is how we can decide whether it is a solution of given equation or not. So this is for the first value, x is equal to 1. In the same way we can decide it for the second value, that is x is equal to minus 1. Again we have the same equation, x square plus 4x minus 5, that is equal to x square is minus 1 square plus 4 into minus 1 minus 5. So negative number is there, so square of any negative number is positive, so minus 1 square is 1. Two numbers are there, out of which one is positive, another is negative, so their product must be negative. 4 into minus 1, that's minus 4 minus 5. So we have here 1 minus 4 minus 5, that's minus 9, and 1 minus 9, that's minus 8. So this is not equal to 0, minus 8 cannot be equal to 0. So this equation for x is equal to minus 1, it is not satisfied all the two sides. The left hand side is not equal to right hand side. So for x is equal to minus 1, as this equation does not get satisfied, that means x is equal to minus 1 is not a solution of the given equation, or it is not the root of the given equation. So if it is equal to 0, then that would be the root of equation, and if it is not equal to 0, any value we get other than 0, then it would not be the solution or the root of that equation. Okay, so this is how we can decide whether the given value is a root of equation or not. Now we have another question based on the same concept, that is find k if x is equal to 3 is the root of equation kx square minus 10x plus 3 is equal to 0. So first of all we should write the given equation, that is kx square minus 10x plus 3 is equal to 0. तर हे इक्वेशन दिले आपल्याला, आणि याच्यामध्ये x is equal to 3 is given to be a root of the equation. So as it is given that it is the root of the given equation, it must satisfy the given equation. That means if we substitute x by 3 in this given equation, both sides must be equal. So here instead of x we should write 3 now, as it is the root of the equation. So k into x square, that means k into 3 square, minus 10 into x, that is 10 into 3, plus 3, that is equal to 0. So 3 square is 9, 9 into k, that's 9k, minus 10 into 3, 30, plus 3 is equal to 0. Now if we solve this ahead, we get 9k minus 30 plus 3, it would be minus 27 is equal to 0. We have to find the value of k. So we should transfer minus 27 to the right hand side, it will become plus 27. And k is equal to, as we transfer 9 to the right hand side, it would be in the denominator. So 27 divided by 9. 9 ones are 9, 3s are 27. So value of k is 3 divided by 1, that means 3. So this is the value of k. So this is how we can solve some examples based on the roots of the given equation. Okay. Now let's have another equation, another question in the form of activity. One of the roots of equation 5m square plus 2m plus k is equal to 0 is minus 7 by 5. Complete the following activity to find the value of k. Now the first statement is dot dot is the root of quadratic equation 5m square plus 2m plus k is equal to 0, and it is given that minus 7 by 5 is the root. So here in the first box we should have minus 7 divided by 5 is the root of the given equation. Now if it is a root, then we have to put m is equal to minus 7 divided by 5 in the equation. So 5 into m square is there, that means minus 7 divided by 5 bracket square is there, plus 2 into m, that is 2 into minus 7 divided by 5 plus k is equal to 0. Now if we simplify this, 5 into minus 7 square, that's 49, divided by 5 square is 25. Now here plus first number is 2 is a positive, minus 7 by 5 is a negative, so product must be negative. So as to have 7 into 2, that's 14 divided by 5 plus k is equal to 0. Now if we divide by 5, we get 5 5s are 25. So we have in the first bracket 49 divided by 5. Now here plus sign is taken and we have got the value minus 14 by 5. So in the bracket we should have minus 14 divided by 5. Now if we again solve this, we get 49 divided by 5 plus minus 14 divided by 5 plus k, that is equal to 0. Now as the denominators are same, we should write it once, and 49 plus minus will become minus 14 plus k is equal to 0, and 49 minus 14 we get 35 divided by 5. So here in this box we get 35 divided by 5 plus k is equal to 0. Now if we divide 35 by 5, we get 5 7s are 35. So it is 7 plus k is equal to 0, and if we transfer 7 to the right hand side, it will become minus 7. So the value of k is equal to minus 7. So this is the answer of this question, that is value of k is minus 7. So there is so this is again another problem based on the roots of the quadratic equation. Now let's have another problem which is based, now we are starting a new point, how to find the solution of a quadratic equation. Now there are various methods of finding the solution of quadratic equation. The first of that is the factorization. The second method is by completing the square method, and the third is formula method. So how to find the solutions of a quadratic equation by factorization? So to understand that, let's have one question, and a basic concept we are going to use in that factorization, that if the product of two numbers is 0, that means any one of them must be equal to 0. For example, suppose 3 into 2. In any case, this product would not be 0. 3 into 2, that's 6. We will not get any product 0 if both the numbers are non-zero. So if the product of any two numbers has to be 0, any one of them must be 0. So either 3 into 0 is equal to 0, or 0 into 2, that should be equal to 0. So this is the basic principle we are going to use for this factorization. That is, if two numbers are products of two numbers is 0, any one of them must be 0. So for this one we have one example. Let's have this equation where we have to find the solution by the factorization method. So as in the question it is given that we have to solve this quadratic equation by factorization, then we have to solve it by the same method. If we use the another method to find the solution, we will not get any mark for it. So as it is mentioned, we have to solve it by the factorization itself. Now for this one, let's have the constant term 54 plus 54, and the coefficient of first term is 1. First of all, we should have a product of these two. 54 into 1, that's 54. And now we have to factorize 54 such that the product of these two, those two numbers is 54 plus 54, and their addition or subtraction must be minus 15. So we have to find such a solution, such a factors, and the factors are minus 9 and minus 6. As the addition of minus 9 and minus 6, that's minus 15, and the product of minus 9 and minus 6, x as a common. So from x square, if we take x from the second group, minus 6 is taken common. As minus sign is taken common, लक्षात घ्या, जर मायनस साइन आपण कॉमन घेत असू तर ब्रॅकेट मध्ये ज्या कोणत्या दोन टर्म्स आपण घेणार आहोत त्यांचा साइन चेंज करायचं. जर आपण ॲडिशन साइन प्लस 6 जर कॉमन घेतला असती तर त्यांची साइन बदलायची गरज नसते, पण आपण मायनस साइन कॉमन घेतोय म्हणजे ब्रॅकेट मधल्या प्रत्येक टर्मचं साइन बदलायचं. सो नाउ अगेन फ्रॉम these two, x minus 9 is taken common, and into another bracket we have x minus 6, and that is equal to 0. Now the product of these two is 0, that means any one of them must be 0, as we have to apply this one. If product of two numbers is 0, then at least one of them must be 0. आता यातलं कुठलं 0 आहे हे आपल्याला माहिती नाही. So we can have either x minus 9 is equal to 0 or x minus 6 is equal to 0. Any one of them may be 0. So it will be plus 9 or x is equal to minus 6 going to the right hand side plus 6. So we get two values, x is equal to 9 and x is equal to 6. So these are the solutions of. Now let's have another equation of which we have to find the solution by factorization. So 5m square plus 22m plus 15. First of all, we should write this in the standard form. That is 5m square on the left hand side. If you take 22 to the left hand side, it would be minus 22m plus 15 coming to the left hand side, it would be minus 15, that is equal to 0. Now by our procedure, we have to take a product of minus 15 and 5. Minus 15 into plus 5, that should be minus 75. And now we have to find the factors of minus 75 such that their addition or subtraction must be minus 22 and the product must be minus 75. So as the product is negative, those factors we are going to find, any one of them must be negative. तर ही एक ट्रिक लक्षात ठेवायची. हा प्रोडक्ट ज्या अर्थी आपल्याला निगेटिव्ह पाहिजे त्या अर्थी जे कुठले दोन फॅक्टर्स आपण शोधणार आहेत त्यातले एक फॅक्टर निगेटिव्ह असलाच पाहिजे तरच आपल्याला प्रोडक्ट निगेटिव्ह मिळणार आहे. मग आपल्याला ती हिंट वापरून आपण फॅक्टर्स असे काढू शकतो 25 into 3. तर मिडल टर्मचं साइन निगेटिव्ह आहे ते मोठ्या संख्येला द्यायचे या दोन्हीपैकी. सो इट इज minus 25 plus 3. नाउ minus 25 plus 3, the addition of these two is minus 22 and product of these two is minus 75. As one number is negative, another is positive, the product must be negative. So these are the proper factors. Now the next step is 5m square minus, we have to split this 22m as minus 25m plus 3m minus 15 is equal to 0. Again make groups of 2. From the first group we can take 5m as a common. So from the first term 5 is taken common, from m square m is taken common, so in bracket we should, m is already taken common from 25, if 5 is taken common plus. Now from these two we have taken plus sign common and the coefficient we can take common is 3. So in bracket we should have m. Now there is no need to change the sign as we have taken positive sign common. Minus 3 5s are 15, that is equal to 0. So again we get m minus 5, the common bracket, into another bracket we have 5m plus 3 is equal to 0. The product of these two is 0, that means any one of them must be 0. It is either m minus 5 is equal to 0 or 5m plus 3 is equal to 0. So if m minus 5 is equal to 0, minus 5 going to that side, it will become plus 5, or 5m is equal to plus 3 going to the right hand side, it will be minus 3, and m is equal to minus 3 divided by 5. So these are the two solutions for this given quadratic equation, either m is equal to 5 or m is equal to minus 3 by 5. So this is how we can find the solution of given quadratic equation by factorization. Let's have another equation where the fraction is involved. So whenever we get an equation where the fraction is involved, first of all let's try to remove that fraction. So if we don't need here 1 by 2, what should we do? First of all we have to try to eliminate this fraction. So how can we eliminate this one? So if we multiply throughout by 2, then we can eliminate this fraction. That means if we multiply each term in this equation by 2, that is 2 into 2x square, that would be 4x square, minus 2 into 2x, that is 4x, plus 2 into 1 by 2, that is equal to 0. So here we have multiplied each term in this equation by 2. Now for the last term, 2 will get cancelled. So we have the equation 4x square minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now we have the proper quadratic equation in the general form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now we have the product of 4 and 1, that's 4. And now we have to find the factors of 4 such that addition of those two factors must be minus 4 and product must be plus 4. So the factors are minus 2 because minus 2 their addition is minus 4 and product of these two is plus 4. So the next step would be 4x square minus, we can split this minus 4x as minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now again make groups of 2. From the first group we can take 2x common. So in the first term we will leave 2 into x minus, both of these two terms are taken common. So we should have only 1 minus. From the second group we cannot take any number common. So at that time we can take 1 as a common. So we have taken 1 common along with the negative sign. So minus 2x will become plus 2x and plus 1 will become minus 1, that is equal to 0. So we get here same bracket 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1, that should be taken common, 2x minus 1. Into another bracket we have 2x minus 1, that is equal to 0. So either 2x minus 1 is equal to 0 or 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we have 2x is equal to minus 1 going to that side will become plus 1. Here also 2x is equal to plus 1. So x is equal to 1 by 2 or x is equal to 1 by 2. So we get two equal solutions for the given equation. So this equation has two solutions but they are equal, 1 by 2 and 1 by 2. So this is the different, somewhat different question. Let's have another question, another equation. Root 2 into x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 is equal to 0. To solve this quadratic equation by factorization, complete the following activity. So this is the question given in the form of activity. So first of all the equation itself returns root 2 x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 that is equal to 0. Now here we have to take a product of 5 root 2 and root 2. So product of these two, that is 5 root 2 into root 2. Root 2 into root 2, that's 2, and 2 into 5, that's 10. So product of these two is 10. We have to factorize 10 in such a way that the product of these two is 10 and adding both must be positive. That is plus 5 plus 2 will get plus 7. It would be plus. So in bracket we have second common. We should leave root 2 in 2x equal to 0 or लक्षात ठेवावं लागणार आहे. आणि ही मेथड आपण कोणत्याही इक्वेशन साठी वापरू शकतो. त्याचे फॅक्टर्स पडू देत किंवा न पडू देत. So this is the equation x square plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. We have to find the solutions of this equation by formula method. Now first of all the given equation, let us name this as or number this as equation number 1, and we have to compare this equation. Compare equation 1 with the standard form, that is the general form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. By comparing that we get the value of a as 1, value of b 6 and value of c 5. So once we have the values of a, b and c, now we can use the formula to get the solution. X is equal to, the formula is minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So we have here plus or minus because as it is a quadratic equation, it must have two solutions. That's why plus minus sign is there. Now just replace the values. Minus b, that is minus 6, plus or minus under root b square, that is 6 square, minus 4 into a, value of a is 1, into c, that is 5. So all these terms are under root sign, divided by 2 into a, that is 2 into 1. So we have x is equal to minus 6 as it is, plus or minus under root 6 square is 36, minus 4 into 1, that's 4 into 5, 20, divided by 2 into 1, that's 2. So that is equal to minus 6 plus or minus under root 36 minus 20, that's 16 divided by 2. That is equal to minus 6 plus or minus square root of 16 is 4. So for the first value we get minus 6 plus 4, that is minus 2 divided by 2, or here x is equal to minus 6 minus 4, that's minus 10 divided by 2. So if we divide here, we'll get 2 1s are 2 and here 2 5s are 10. So we have value of x as, here we have minus term in the numerator. So minus 1 divided by 1, that's minus 1. So we should take care of that. Sometimes we can forget this negative sign and we would write 1. So that would be the wrong answer. Or x is equal to, here also negative sign is there. So x is equal to minus 5. So these are the two solutions. X is equal to minus 5 and x is equal to minus 1 for the given quadratic equation. And here we have used the formula method. So here sometimes we get such equation or such values such that we can divide those two numbers and we can simplify that. But sometimes it's not possible, so we have to keep that as it is. Now let's have another equation. Solve the question, same question is there, solve using the formula 5x square plus 13x plus 8 is equal to 0. Again the procedure, we have to call this as equation number 1. If we compare this with the general form, the value of a is this time 5, value of b is 13, the value of c is 8. And now we can use the formula. Variable is x, that is equal to minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So minus b, that means minus 13 plus or minus under root b square, that means 13 square minus 4 into a, that is 4 into 5 into c, that is into 8 divided by 2 into a, that is 2 into 5, that is equal to minus 13 plus or minus under root 13 square is 169 minus 4 into 5, that's 20, 20 into 8, it's 160 divided by 2 into 5, that's 10, which is equal to minus 13 plus or minus under root 169 minus 160, that's 9 divided by 10. So here x is equal to minus 13 plus or minus square root of 9 is 3 divided by 10. Now it's time to split it out. So x is equal to minus 13 plus 3 divided by 10, or x is equal to minus 13 minus 3 divided by 10 divided by 10, and the second value minus 13 minus 3, that's minus 16 divided by 10, that is equal to x. So here 10 will get cancelled so as to have the value of x as minus 1. So this is one of the roots of the equation, that is x is equal to minus 1. And the another root is x is equal to minus 16 divided by 10. So if we divide by 2, 2 5s are 10 and 2 8s are 16. So we have the second root as x is equal to minus 8 divided by 5. So this is the another solution of the given quadratic equation. So here also we have used the formula method by which we can solve any of the quadratic equation. Okay, now let's have the next point, that is nature of roots of a quadratic equation. Before that, let me check out the network. थोड़ा सा नेटवर्क इशू होता, एक मिनट. ओके, ठीक आहे, सुरू करूया आपण. कंटिन्यू करूया सेशन करू. So this is the next point, nature of roots of quadratic equation. We can decide how is the nature of roots of the given quadratic equation by having the value of discriminant. So how to decide what is the nature of roots of given quadratic equation? So for that, if we have the quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and if a, b and c, if we consider these coefficients, by that we have the value of discriminant, which is called as b square minus 4ac. So by having this value b square minus 4ac, what value we can get for b square minus 4ac? So there are only three possibilities. Either b square minus 4ac is equal to 0, or b square minus 4ac must be greater than 0, that means a positive number, or the third possibility is b square minus 4ac must be less than 0. These are the only three possibilities we can get the values of b square minus 4ac. या तिन्हीशिवाय दुसरं काही शक्य नाही. आता ह्याच्यावरून आपण रूट्स ठरवायचे. सपोज इफ वी गेट द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ बी स्क्वेअर मायनस 4ac इज इक्वल टू 0, देन इन दॅट केस रूट्स आर रियल अँड इक्वल. तर त्या केसमध्ये त्याचे जे रूट्स आहेत ते रियल असतात आणि ते इक्वल असतात. एकच रूट रिपीट होतं, म्हणजे x इज इक्वल टू 2, x इज इक्वल टू 2 या पद्धतीने. इफ बी स्क्वेअर मायनस 4ac इज इक्वल टू 0. In the second case, if b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, then the roots are real, but they are unequal. That means they are real, but they are unequal. X is equal to 2 and x is equal to 3, like this one. And in the third case, if b square minus 4ac, we get negative value for b square minus 4ac, any negative value, less than 0 means negative value, then in that case, roots are not real. तर ते रियल नंबर्स नसतात, ते दुसरा कुठला तरी नंबरचा प्रकार असतो. तर आपल्याला तात्पुरते एवढंच लक्षात ठेवायचं. सो दीज आर द थ्री थिंग्स वी हॅव टू रिमेंबर. हा जो प्रश्न आहे तो आपला प्रश्न 1 मार्काला, 2 मार्काला किंवा मल्टिपल चॉईस क्वेश्चनला कुठे येऊ शकतो. तर त्या सगळ्यासाठी आपल्याला ही बेसिक कन्सेप्ट आपली क्लिअर असली पाहिजे. तर हे आपण याचा उपयोग करून आपण आता काही एक्झाम्पल सोडवू. त्याच्या अगोदर पुन्हा एकदा नेटवर्क चेक करू द्या. Okay. Now let us complete one activity which is based on the nature of roots of quadratic equation. Now question is fill in the blanks. Values of discriminant are given, that is b square minus 4ac. This is discriminant. And for this one, three values are given. The first is it's 50. So 50 is a number which is greater than 0, and we know that if the value of the discriminant is greater than 0, then the roots are real and unequal. So this is the nature of the roots of that particular equation. For the second equation, the value of discriminant is given to be minus 30, which is less than 0, and we know that if the value of discriminant is negative, the roots are not real. So here the nature of roots is roots are not real. That is the only thing we have to write here. And in the third equation, for the third equation, the value of discriminant is given. So in that case we know that the roots are real and they are equal. So this is how we can complete this activity. Based on the values of discriminant, we have the nature of roots of particular equation. Now there is another question to find the value of the discriminant. So let's have the first equation, x square plus 7x minus 1, that is equal to 0. We have to find the value of discriminant. So for this one, first of all, we should have this is equation number 1, and we have to compare this with the standard form. So compare equation 1 with the standard form, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So by comparing that, we get value of a as 1, value of b 7, and value of c is minus 1. And now we can find the value of discriminant, which is also denoted by delta. So delta is equal to b square minus 4ac, that is equal to value of b is 7 here, so we should have 7 square minus 4 into a is 1, into c is minus 1, that is equal to 7 square is 49. Two negative numbers are there, so product must be positive. 4 into 1 into 1, that's 4. So 49 plus 4, that's 53. So this is the value of the discriminant for this equation. Okay, in the same way we have another equation, 2y square minus 7y plus 2, that is equal to 0. So here also we can call this as equation number 1. If we compare this equation 1 with the standard form, we get value of a as 2, value of b as minus 7, and value of c 2. And now we have the value of discriminant delta is equal to b square minus 4ac, that is equal to b, that's minus 7 square minus 4 into a is 2, into c is also 2. So minus 7 square 49, okay, minus 4 into 2, that's 8, and 8 into 2, that's 16. So we have 49 minus 16, that's 33. So 49 minus 16, 33. So this is the value of the discriminant. In the same way we can find the another equation, m square plus 2m plus 9. So solve this on your own, call this as equation number 1, compare this with the standard form and get the answer. So that's it for now. Today we'll end this session, and there is a remaining part of this topic, that is how to find the equation by getting the roots of quadratic equation and some word problems. So we'll take it in the another session. So that's it for now. Let's end this. Thanks for watching.